10 Stoic lessons to help you overcome your greatest fears. Close your eyes and for a moment imagine the ground slipping from beneath your feet, standing at the edge of a vast abyss, the wind harshly beating against your face. As you gaze into the endless, dark void below, you feel your heart pounding against your ribcage, your palms drenched, and your breath catching in your throat. Terror grips every cell of your being. Wait, don't immediately picture a scene from a horror movie, because this abyss I'm talking about isn't actually a physical place. These fears are often a difficult presentation you have to give tomorrow, a critical conversation you need to have with a loved one, or the uncertain future itself. They're catastrophic scenarios in the theater of our own minds, where we are both the director and the lead actor. Fear is an ancient instinct designed to keep us alive biologically. However, in the modern world, this mechanism becomes savage, out of control, and locks us in the prison of expectations we ourselves have created. Fear is the most common, powerful, yet also the most misunderstood emotion in human experience. Depending on how you position it, it can be your greatest savior or your most ruthless guardian. When it warns us of a real, tangible, and immediate danger, like a snake appearing in the woods, fear is a loyal friend. It releases adrenaline, tenses your muscles, and ensures your survival. However, when fear transforms an imaginary danger, one that hasn't yet occurred and may never occur, into a colossal monster in your mind, it becomes an enemy that stifles your potential. For example, if you are afraid of public speaking, this fear might drive you to avoid a presentation that could change your career. This doesn't ensure your survival. Rather, it causes you to miss out on life. What if I told you there's a millennia-old method, tested on battlefields and in imperial palaces, to overcome not just this fear, but every kind of anxiety, worry, and hesitation you'll encounter throughout your life? By radically changing your beliefs and perspective, you can reprogram your emotional responses and minimize your fears and anxieties. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus, centuries ago, deciphered the code of human psychology with these words: "It is not the events themselves that disturb people, but the judgments they form about those events." The Stoics were thinkers who lived during the most turbulent periods of ancient Greece and Rome. They didn't have distracting smartphones, antidepressants, or comfortable escapes. Yet, they solved the battle against fear and the dark corridors of the human mind with astonishing clarity, long before modern psychology. For them, the issue wasn't about suppressing emotions, being cold and unresponsive. The real goal was to build a mental inner fortress that even the greatest fears, losses, and disasters couldn't shake. I promise you, their strategies will be among the most shocking and impactful ideas you'll ever hear. Now, forget those boring, dusty philosophy books. Stoicism is a highly practical survival kit designed for those who want to stay afloat in the chaos of modern life. The foundation of this philosophy lies in the ability to discern what is within our control and what is not. We can control our thoughts, the meanings we give to events, our reactions, and our choices. This is our fortress. But what about external events, the economy, other people's opinions, traffic, the weather, even sometimes our own health? Most of these are beyond our control. It may sound very simple, but this distinction is revolutionary. Why? Because fear and anxiety almost always stem from worrying about things we cannot control. Think of spilled milk. Spilling milk is just an accident. And yes, it's annoying, but the real pain is the mental torment that follows. Why did I do that? How clumsy I am. Stoicism doesn't eliminate that initial disappointment. However, it allows you to control the duration and intensity of that pain. It makes it possible to clean up the mess, perhaps even laugh about it, and move on with your life. It completely shifts the balance of power. It takes away the authority of what frightens you and gives that power back to you. If you want to be the master, not the lord, of your fear, if you desire a more fulfilling and free life, listen carefully to what I have to say in this video. So do not forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the echoes of this ancient wisdom in the modern world. If you're ready, let's begin the journey to mental freedom. 1. Negative visualization. A mental vaccine. Stoicism is at its strangest but most effective here. They practiced what they called primegi tatu malorum, a technique of forethinking evils. This is not pessimism or a depressive outlook. On the contrary, it is a mental inoculation. Let's say your greatest fear is losing your job. Most people would dismiss that thought. But the Stoics say, no. Think about it in detail. Imagine this as a vivid film in your mind. Imagine your boss calling you in, that cold conversation, the shame you feel as you clear your desk, your exit from the office under the stares of your colleagues. Then think about what comes next. The drop in your bank account, the stress of the job search process, the rejection letters you receive. This visualization might be painful at first, but then ask yourself this crucial question. If this happened to me, would it kill me? Could I get through it? The answer is almost always a resounding yes. You'll pull yourself together, maybe struggle for a while, move back in with your family, or work in a lower position. But you'll always find a way. The magic here is this. When you mentally confront the worst-case scenario, that terrifying monster of uncertainty transforms into a manageable problem. You don't wish for bad things to happen, but you know you won't be devastated if they do. You stop seeing an obstacle as a life-ending threat. Yes, circumstances can get tough, but human nature is built on adaptation, not destruction. We are descendants of ancestors who survived ice ages, wars, and famines. We have immense resilience and flexibility in our genes. Through this technique, instead of fearing the disasters that may befall you, you'll learn to dance with them. 2. Perception is everything. Change your glasses. The Stoics knew very well that our brain is a machine that constantly tells stories. When we are afraid, our brain works like a horror novelist. It writes the worst, bloodiest, most humiliating scenarios. But there's a world of difference between reality and how we interpret that reality. Haven't you ever been terrified of something, only to think, is that all? It wasn't so bad after all, after it happened. A daunting presentation, the anxiety of a first date, or a difficult confrontation. Your mind turns every possibility into a catastrophe. That's where Stoicism comes in and says, stop. You're writing this story, so change the genre. Instead of thinking, I'm definitely going to mess up, I'm going to be humiliated. When going to a job interview, change your perception. I might not get the job. That's a possibility. But I'm going to prepare perfectly and do my best. Do you see the subtle but vital difference? In the first case, you're in the role of a victim and you're outcome-oriented. In the second, you're process-oriented, and you're in control. You don't deny the risks. You just stop catastrophizing them. This approach removes the paralyzing pressure of fear and prepares you to act. The goal isn't to completely eliminate fear and become numb. The goal is to prevent fear from distorting your perception of the world. Instead of saying, I'm terrible at this, it's about being able to say, there's an area where I need to improve. Thus, fear ceases to be a shackle, dragging you down, and becomes a ladder, lifting you up. 3. Anger and inaction. Stop thinking. Just do Stoics. Hated passively sitting and brooding, or rumination. Today we call this overthinking. Most people wait for fear to completely pass, and for conditions to be perfect before taking action. The Stoics, however, knew that this waiting was a trap. Fear grows in the waiting room. It shrinks in the field of action. Ask yourself this question. What's the smallest thing I can do right now about this? Often, fears seem like a gigantic mountain. But when you start climbing that mountain, you only think about the next step. Do you have a fear of heights? Nobody expects you to be skydiving tomorrow. Start by watching videos of high places online. Then look down from the second floor of a building. Then take the elevator to the top floor and look out the window. This is the ancestor of exposure therapy. Every step you take, no matter how small, sends this message to your brain. Look, I did what you feared, and I didn't die. I'm in control. As these small victories accumulate, your self-confidence grows like a snowball. It's not just about overcoming fear. In the process, You trigger your inner curiosity and desire to explore. You unlock mental doors that were previously locked, one by one. Action is the only antidote to fear. 4. Loving your fate, Amor Fati. Become fire, Amor Fati. Meaning, love your fate. This is perhaps the most difficult, yet the most liberating, concept in Stoicism. It may sound shocking at first. Why would anyone love the bad things that happen to them? However, this isn't masochistic love, but a strategic acceptance. The Stoics knew that life would constantly throw us off balance, disrupting our plans. Resisting this and crying, "Why me?" only increases the suffering and weakens you. Amor Fati means seeing everything that happens to you, good or bad, as a necessary part of your life, even as fuel. Think of a fire. Whatever you throw into it, wood, paper, even trash, the fire consumes it and transforms it into its own flame, growing stronger and brighter. You should be like that fire. You should see the obstacles, injustices, or difficulties that come your way as fuel to strengthen your character. Fear is often fueled by the question, what if this happens? Amor Fati, however, responds with, whatever happens, I am ready and I will turn it to my advantage. You can't stop the waves, you can't control the ocean, but you can learn to be a very good surfer. It's about using the power of the current to accelerate, instead of swimming against it. When life challenges you, accept it as training, as a test. This perspective transforms you from a victim to a hero. 5. Awareness for combating panic. Maintaining anchoring when fear reaches panic levels. Our rational brain prefrontal cortex shuts down, and our primitive brain amygdala takes over. Logic flies out the window, and the body goes into fight or flight mode. The Stoics knew the importance of bringing the mind back to the body and the present moment at these times. When you feel anxiety rising, stop fighting your mind and focus on your body. Physically shift your position. Walk around. Wash your face with cold water. This will short-circuit the panic cycle. More importantly, engage your senses. Feel how your feet are touching the ground. Examine the smallest details in the room. There are 3 paintings on that wall. The carpet is red. I hear a car horn outside. This simple observation exercise takes your mind off catastrophic scenarios of the future and brings it to the safe present now. It's not magic. It's a neurological tactic. By keeping your mind occupied, you reduce the perception of threat. In a moment of panic, the outside world becomes your anchor. This allows you to regain control and begin thinking rationally. 6. Community matters. You are not alone. Stoicism is often confused with an image of a solitary, detached man who faces all suffering alone. This is a great misconception. Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus placed great importance on friendship and community. Man is a social being, and fears are fueled by isolation and loneliness. When alone in a dark room, every shadow resembles a monster. But when you turn on the light and have a friend by your side, those shadows disappear. Sharing your struggles and fears with people you trust is not a weakness, but a strategic strength. Sometimes, simply voicing your fear aloud can break its spell. The moment you say, I'm afraid of this, that fear ceases to be an undefined, overwhelming force within you and transforms into a defined problem. Also, find people who inspire you with their courage. Join communities with Stoic ideals. Read biographies, knowing that thousands of people throughout history have lived through and overcome the same fears as you will give you the strength to say, I can do it too. Brave armies don't enter battle scattered. They enter shoulder to shoulder as a unit phalanx. You, too, build your own unit as you fight your fears. 7. Understanding fear. Read your compass. What is it that keeps you awake at night? According to the Stoics, fear is often a guardian of the things we value. If you fear something, it means there is something precious there that you are afraid of losing. If you fear for your child's future, it shows that you are a good parent and that you love them. If you fear ruining your business, it shows that you value your work and reputation. Stop seeing fear as just an enemy to be avoided. Use it as a compass. Fear tells you, there's something important here for you. Be careful. Once you receive this message, you can turn fear into action. Are you afraid for your health? Use that fear as fuel to start a diet and sign up for exercise. Are you afraid of losing loved ones? Hug them more often and show them your love. This protective instinct, when channeled correctly, is a tremendous source of motivation. Instead of trembling helplessly, you begin to proactively take precautions. Sometimes, fear shows the limits of your comfort zone, and we all know that growth and development begin just beyond that limit. 8. Inner Citadel. The untouchable core. Think of your mind as a besieged fortress. Life batters its walls every day. Criticisms, failures, disappointments, economic crises hit your walls like cannonballs. Breaches may appear in the outer walls. Towers may collapse. But the Stoics believed that at the very heart of the fortress, there was an inner citadel that the enemy could never reach. This inner fortress is your character, your will, your values. Whatever you possess in the outside world, your money, your reputation, even your body can be harmed. But unless you allow it, no one can take away your honesty, your courage, and your perspective. As Marcus Aurelius said, the only thing that can harm you is your own reaction. When fear grips you, retreat into this inner fortress. No matter how fierce the storm outside, you can maintain your inner composure. Building this fortress takes time. Every honest act, every courageous decision, every patient stance is a brick laid in its foundation. Once you have built this fortress, external events may shake you, but they can never destroy it. 9. Perspective is power. Memento mori, remember death. Memento mori meaning, remember that you will die. It may sound frightening and depressing, but for the Stoics, this was the key to living life to the fullest. Knowing that our time is limited makes every moment more precious. Consider your everyday worries, those petty office squabbles, the stress of traffic, the anxiety about what others think of you. Then place those worries alongside the infinite and absolute silence of death. You will see how meaningless and insignificant they become. Being aware of death reduces the noise in your life and allows you to hear the music. If you knew you only had a year left to live, would you worry about the things you're currently preoccupied with? Probably not. You would spend time with loved ones and pursue your postponed dreams. Memento mori reminds us of this urgency. Fear is related to the future. The awareness of death focuses you on the present. This perspective breaks the suffocating effect of fear and gives you a strange but immense sense of freedom. You say, "What do I have to lose?" And you bravely take action. Dies a worthy enemy, dancing with fear finally. We must acknowledge that fear will never completely disappear. As long as life goes on, there will be new challenges, new uncertainties. But the greatest lesson Stoicism teaches us is to change our relationship with fear. Fear is not a monster to run from, but a valuable enemy. A training partner that helps you grow. Lifting weights in the gym challenges and tires your muscles, but ultimately strengthens them. Fear is also a weight on the soul. Every time you feel fear and yet act, your character muscles develop. Every step you take outside your comfort zone expands your potential. Over time, you will realize that you will no longer panic when the shadow of fear appears. You will say, "Hello, old friend. Are you back again? Okay, let's see what you'll teach me this time." This isn't arrogance. It's a quiet and unwavering self-confidence. Born of experience, you will have an inner voice saying, "I've been through this before. I can handle it." Conclusion. Courage is not the absence of fear. Remember, courage doesn't mean not being afraid. It means mounting your horse and entering the battle despite your fear. What makes people heroes isn't their fearlessness, but having a purpose greater than their fears. Stoic philosophy guides you in finding that purpose and walking that path. Now, I want you to take a small but powerful step. Pause this video. Take a deep breath. Think about that fear that's holding you back in your life. that you're avoiding confronting, and make a promise to yourself in this community by writing "I am confronting my fears" in the comments below. Journeys of thousands of miles begin with a single step, and by watching this video, you've already taken that first big step. Thank you for watching. I hope this information has sparked something in your soul. If you found it helpful, please like, share with your loved ones, and subscribe to join us on this journey. Until the next video, stay stoic, stay strong, and stay happy.